A very good evening to all of y'all. Now, before I start, let me tell you that we have launched the Dream Batch. A Dream Batch is an access to the paid lectures where you can go ahead and complete all your chapters. So, for example, you're giving Group 1, the CMADD and drafting. All the chapters are available to you for 399 rupees only. How do you get it? Join the WhatsApp group. The link has been given. Over 200 students have joined. 100 200 students have joined in a span of a day. So everybody knows that that really gives you a way that you can get the exemptions. I hope all of you all have enrolled. If not, go ahead and enroll. It will immensely benefit you because it has all the amendments and nothing will come outside, since every single thing from the module is also covered, okay, in a fast paced manner. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Dev. Dev, I don't think you have joined. Have you joined the Dream Batch, Dev? Good to have you again. So today I will be covering the second half of the part B, where I had completed in the earlier half in a short span, maybe 2 hours. I had covered multiple chapters, and again in this same scenario I will be doing now. I'll be telling you what is important from exam point of view in the certain chapters as well. Okay. So for the Dream Batch, one is test series, which is absolutely free of cost. You all can write. We will check and give you. There is a Dream Batch link which I have rotated. Okay, great, great, Dev. So do that, because then you will get access to all the lectures. You can view it on the phone as well as the laptop with unlimited views. So make the most out of it and get an exemption. Many students have already got, and this time again, I'm sure you will be getting it. Now, without further delay, let's start. Hi, so we'll be starting with the second part of the marathon. The earlier part of the marathon, we are targeting your 60 marks and ensuring that you easily be able to clear the exam on basis of this. In my last attempt, in my last video, I had covered major chapters, which was your CAAS 1, 2, 3, 4. And in this lecture, I will be doing the other important chapters from this part, so that you know 60 marks is in your pocket. So let's begin. Hi, we'll be starting with the chapter called as internal audit and performance audit. Sir, what is internal audit? What is performance audit? I believe even you have an idea. But where students miss out is to know what section, what rule, and what extra points are to be written. First, let's understand the concept and then I will tell you the importance as well. So first is internal audit. An internal audit is an audit by management. In simple lines, it is an audit checking by the management. Does every company require internal audit? Answer is no. Section 138 contains only certain companies have to mandatorily get a internal audit. Rest all companies do not have to get an internal audit. However, voluntarily they can get an internal audit done. Now, in order, why would they do an internal audit? To ensure, I'll tell you the logic also. When an external auditor is going to come, he will directly report the findings to the shareholders. For example, if I made some mistakes, the external auditor has found some discrepancies, some deficiencies, he will directly go out and shout to the shareholders. So as a preventive step, as a damage control method, that I don't have to get the damage, I get an audit done by myself. Everything the auditor does, keeps it ready. And then when the external auditor comes, I said, I have already done the internal audit. See, everything is ready. This is ready, this is ready, this is ready. So it helps me get you could say, prevents me from an adverse opinion from a external auditor. Very simple. It is done by the management, and law does not even tell you who the internal auditor should be. For example, statutory auditors under section 139 mandatorily has to be a chartered accountant. In secretarial audit, mandatorily company secretary under section 204. Cost audit under section 148, mandatory for a cost and management accountant. Internal audit could be any of the professional, whichever the board deems fit. Okay. Now, what is a performance audit? A performance audit nowadays, how do you determine to who to give the increments, who to give what salary hike, who to remove from the company? How do you do that? So on in listed companies where they have human resource, and to justify why and what salary hike are you giving, performance audit is done. When they find even the performance of a CEO not up to the mark, they even remove them. A classic example of that is your Tatas, where they had removed Cyrus Mistry due to board losing confidence in his performance. Now, now, when they ask you, you know that internal audit is an important chapter, they have to ask you. So, it's better to give the definition as per a recognized body. So, Institute of Internal Auditors. So, you will write, whenever any question comes about internal audit, you should start with the definition. What is the definition of internal audit? II, and same thing what I have told you, where they have given what is the benefits of internal. Now I'm going to teach you something which is going to make your life very simple. Now I'm going to teach you something where your chapter is going to be extremely simple. So what is it? Now in internal audit, whether they ask you the purpose, or they ask you the objectives of internal audit, or they ask you the advantage of internal audit, or the scope of audit, or the role of internal audit, or the nature of internal audit, answer will be the same. So answer will be, you have to make a common answer. What do you have to do for all of this? You have to make a common answer. Common answer, because the points are overlapping. Points are overlapping. Sir, what do you mean to say? I'm saying that now you will see multiple point times. One, they will ask what is the purpose of internal audit. Next time they'll ask you what is the advantage of internal audit. Then they'll you objective of internal audit. Then they'll role of internal audit. You can't keep learning. Just learn one where all the points are given, and that's it. Just you can write it. All of them are correct, because it's not a law. It's just a concept. So first thing is why internal audit should be done. Internal audit is statutory requirement, so you will write that it is a compliance by the laws. Second, when I do an internal audit, there will be less violations, less fraud, less mishaps. So I will be able to safeguard the company's assets. Third, once the internal audit is there, the financial statements become more reliable. It will ensure that the reliability and integrity of financial statements can be there. Second, because of internal audit and checking is being done, it will amount to effectiveness and efficiency of operation. Not only that, you will add few more points. It is a risk management tool. So whatever risk are there will be managed by the internal auditor. It's a good governance practice, you will write. And now you will see multiple times I wanted to note it down. Okay, so they will keep writing. Again, they repeat the same thing. Scope of internal audit. You can continue writing. Scope of internal audit. You will write all these points again, and then you will write. See how you have these 4 points. Then you will continue. You can write these points also. Additionally, good governance practice. It is a risk management tool. Okay, it will help you performance management. The name of the chapter only, because when internal audit is done, you also come to know who is a non-performer, and it ensures that whether you're following the company's code of ethics or not. It is a management tool, and it is an internal control measure. So with audit is being done, automatically everyone will be alert. It is an internal control tool. All the people in the company become extremely careful. So once you learn all these points, you will see the similar points will keep coming. See, it is a management tool, it is a continuous exercise, it's a risk management tool, everything. Just the heading is different, concept all will come the same. See, I'll come to this section later, but you see again, purpose of internal audit. So you don't have to learn everything differently. All the points you've done above, you will just write as a risk management tool. It helps ensure that the internal controls are in effectiveness and efficiency. Helps attain the organizational goals. Same points you can write. Okay. Again, they will go same. The same points will be written with a different heading. I hope you're understanding what I'm telling you. You cannot sit to learn separately each point. Okay. So all of this is correct. So again, I'll tell you which all is common is to be written. Okay, so more or less, see, objectives of internal audit, same points. will be written. Objective of internal audit. Now, right now we just learned risk management tool. It has to be there. Internal controls will become strong. It will help you safeguard the assets. It will help you verify and reliability of accounts. It will help you detect frauds and errors and adhere to the accounting standard. Add them up. So all these points are you want. All the different headings should have like 30 points. Then whichever you want, you can write. Because again, they will repeat. What is the internal audit review? It helps you comply with the laws, helps you comply with the internal policies, internal controls will be in place. Okay. See the number of times they are repeating it. So once you understand how to attempt the chapter becomes very simple. Effectiveness and efficiency of operations. Reliability of financial statements will be there. Helps you comply with the law. Helps achieve the organizational goal. Helps safeguarding of assets. I hope you are understanding that there is a repetition of things. Okay. Again you move ahead. Same thing will come ahead later on also. Now again what they are saying. Scope of internal audit. So I told you have to learn the definition. IIA definition learn exactly right, and the same points which I have told you, same thing will be there. There's nothing rocket science. Okay, internal controls, reliability and integrity of financial statements. You will be able to safeguard your assets, comply with the laws. It will help you achieve the organizational goals, safeguarding of assets, and effective and efficient use of resources. So these further points, I want all these, I'm just teaching you one answer will go in multiple headings. Okay, so still I'm showing you all those. Okay, so again, so all the headings you can write and the common answer you can write here. I hope I made myself clear. Yeah. Okay. So if you go to see again, role of internal audit in an organization, same points. It will help you get the internal control. Okay. Risk management tool, right? Then you will write about helps you adhere to the best corporate governance practice. That's it. Okay. Now coming back to the second part of the chapter. The first part I am done telling you that make a common answer for multiple headings because they have multiple internal points same. Now coming to the main second part of the chapter. Okay, with this first part, multiple headings get done. Now coming to the second part, sir, where is internal audit given? Now 99.99% students will write section 138, but very little students will write rule number 13. When you know it is a name of a chapter, it is your duty to also know the rule number. All the rule numbers you don't need to know. And rule 13 of company accounts rules 2014. That's it. Is this clear? So internal audit is covered under section 138 read with rule number 13. And it's very simple. Can anyone tell me how you can remember this? Give me a technique to remember this that you will never forget in your entire life. Even after 20 years when I'll ask you, you will be able to tell me. Tell me how you can remember the rule number here. Very simple. How you can tell? Where can you find them? So very simple. Okay. If you go to C, now I'm going to tell you one big hack that you will never forget the rule number for internal audit. Internal audit is section 138. The rule is 13. 8 remove. Understood? Yes or no? So rule number 138 and the rule is also 13. 8 forget. 8 it. Horrible joke, but is this clear? That 138 and 13 is the rule number. Now I'll teach you the methodology of learning the figures also inside. See, one, we know that every listed company needs to get an internal audit, but every other unlisted public company will also come, and here they say even private company will be covering. Now there are thresholds, okay, the 50 crores, 200 crores, 100 crores and 25 crores. Now I will teach you in 10 seconds, I will teach you the entire thresholds that you will never forget it in your life. Ready? Good to go? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, very good. Now pay attention. Tell me how you remember the threshold. The threshold is very simple. You have to remember the word TLPD 200 crores. That is it. All I want you to remember is TLPD. What is the key word? Everyone will write it down. TLPD. TLPD. And all the number I want you to remember is 200 crores. So write it here 200 crores, then write it here half of it, then write it here half of it, and then write it here half of this. Your thresholds are done. Turnover, loan amount, paid up capital, and deposits. And this is when it comes to private company, when you saw, now this is for unlisted public company. Now I'm teaching you for private company. Private company. Very simple. Just remember the word TL. Done. So TL. So it starts with 200 crores and 100 crores. Concept clear? Yes or no? Now I'll verify, okay? Because obviously I also can make mistakes. No, I cannot. Okay. Now pay attention. What is this? T. T is what? T. Turnover. Start with 200 crores. L is 100 crores, half of it. P. Paid up capital is 50 crores. And TLPD, D is deposits, 25 crores. Beautiful. And when you go for private company, only it will come TL. Same, thresholds are the same. 200 and L is half 100. Concept perfectly clear, yes or no? You will never ever forget the thresholds also. Just remember the word TLPD and 200 crores. Concept clear? Now let's move ahead to the next part. Now we finished most of part of it. Okay, I'll just take you through, because if question comes, it will only come from this, nothing else. There can't be anything. Now, very important. ABC Limited is a internal audit mandatory, is internal audit mandatory. So now in exam they can ask you. They will give you thresholds for TLPD, and that thresholds you need to know and tell whether it is needed or not. Paid up capital, reserves, turnover, and is this much 300 crores during the preceding financial year. So it is needed. Next, if you go to see, is internal audit mandatory for partnership firm or proprietary firm? So when you go to see, they have said listed company, private company. So obviously firms and proprietary concerns do not have to follow. Simple. Now a very important question which they can ask in the exam. Can your internal auditor and statutory auditor be the same? Yes or no? Obviously there is a restriction in section 141 only with respect to eligibility for appointing a statutory auditor. As per section 138, internal auditor can be a CA, CS or any other professional. Our statutory auditor cannot be appointed as a internal auditor at the same time. Restriction is given under section 141 eligibility, which talks about ineligibility also. Now, basic stuff they are telling you that appointment of internal auditor, who does. So if you go to see secretarial auditor, who how is a secretarial auditor appointed? Does shareholders appoint? How is a cost auditor appointed? Do shareholders appoint? How is a internal auditor appointed? Is a shareholders appoint? So all of them have one simple rule. Section 179 subsection 3. Now this is what you need to know. It is the power of the board to appoint professionals. So company secretary is also appointed under the same section. Okay, auditors are appointed under the same section. Okay, and when they are doing, this is a very rare category where MGT 14 has to be filed. Normally, a student will get confused that a student feels that section 17 MGT 14 is only for special resolution, right? You will feel that special resolution is to be filed only, MGT 14 is to be filed only for special resolution. Answer is no. It is mandatory for special resolution, but for other cases, like when a BOD appoints a internal auditor, MGT 14 is required. Even when there is no special resolution. Concept clear, yes or no? This is given in your section 179, read with rule 8.4. The appointment of the internal auditor is only by a duly convened board meeting. They cannot even do it by circulation. It is very, very important aspect about appointment. Concept clear? And the ROC for now, imagine only board meeting it is there and is being appointed and MGT 14 is filed. Now only private companies are exempted. Private companies are exempted from filing MGT 14 for board resolution. Clear? This was one important part that I wanted to tell you. Now again, terms of reference is same as CAAS 1, which is about audit engagement. When you are appointing someone, it's a contract between the auditor and the auditee, containing the terms and conditions of the audit. The fees, objective, roles, account, who will be accountable, timelines, etc. Access to information, etc. Now, internal auditor skills. Now, very general stuff. It's not a law. They've just built it in your module. The internal auditor has to be a good singer, dancer. No. What will be there? What quality would you be looking in an internal auditor? Same quality which I look in an auditor. Professional skepticism. That is a thinking or a questioning mind. Objectivity. Objectivity means what? He has a purpose. He has an ability to reason, question. Okay, so they are giving you the qualities such as technique. He should be aware of the technical standards. He should always say the world is going to end. No, he has to be a positive mind. IT skills is needed for even a kid today. Interviewing skills, because if he's hiring. Documentation, because he'll be maintaining his own working papers. Reporting skills, he has to know how to report just like an auditor. Audit engagements, team building exercise, he should know. Managing the audit. 11, professional representation before the company, in behalf of the company. Knowledge management skills, etc. How does he share the knowledge, update the knowledge, create the policy, etc. Very, very simple. We'll write, okay. Specific skills he should have with respect to team building. We saw human resource. So very general. I don't think there is a law. Everything I think we are done with this half part of the chapter. Now, internal audit principle. Now always remember, the internal auditor will have same principles like an external auditor. He should have integrity. He should have independence. He should demonstrate quality, professional care. He should be able to communicate effectively, risk, insightful. Same facts you can write. Okay. Now, very, very important. Okay. This is, I don't think many students know. How, while doing an internal audit, his job is to detect and prevent frauds and errors, right? Just the role of an audit is to ensure that you detect and prevent frauds and errors. So how will you do it? So basically they will have to ensure that maker checker concept is there, that the duties are segregated, not all the power should be given in one hand. So he's going to see some systems are in place which ensure that the fraud is prevented, errors are prevented, duties should be rotated, mandatory way. Now this is like a really, really stupid provision. If you read it, you will laugh. They are saying mandatory holidays should be given to the employees. Go for vacation so that they do not are not discouraged from working. Treat the employees well, conduct regular audit, do background check. Very, very important. Who are hiring? Because one wrong hiree could really spoil the entire work environment. You should have a whistleblower. You should know. You should use technology, fraud awareness training, code of conduct. Okay, tell who is accountable, and document retention should be there. how document retention and destruction policy will be there. For example, how long the document should be preserved. If they want to discard any document, how will they do it? So all that policy he has to make simple. He has to be independent, just like a external auditor. Now, very simple point. Factors affecting his independence are very simple. If he's an employee, he's being gift, he has a business relation. Headings are enough. You do your headings, that is enough. And very similar to section 144 of Companies Act, which says that auditors should not render the following services because nobody bites the hand that feeds them. So your job is to see that no similar work is done, gifts, etc. And then the second part of the chapter is your performance audit. Okay. Now coming to performance audit. Sir, what is a performance audit? Now understand this thing, that performance audit. Now what do you mean by an audit? If I go to see, performance audit is an evaluation of the performance. Now performance means that what they would perform. They would not have single answers. They would be taking decisions. So you will evaluate the decisions, how they were implemented, how they were monitored, and then on basis of that, the increments can be given. Let's see. Steps for, now this point you learn, your entire this second part will be done. How do I appraise someone's management decisions? How do you determine that someone was a good performer or no? How the CEO was good or no? So they are saying the following steps should be considered by the auditor. He has to tell that which decisions he is going to be checking. Second, he will see that this was the target and what was actual. So comparing the targets with the actual will help you know. You will also look that if it's a very risky project, not risky, how much time was allocated, how much funds were allocated, what were the various options, alternatives were done, where proper monitoring was done or no. So this is done. Here they are saying even performance audit of the internal auditor will be done. Means the internal auditor's job will be checked whether the internal audit was done properly or no. The performance appraisal of the internal audit, whether the process of evaluating how well the internal audit meets its intended objects and supports the organization. So we'll be also checking performance audit of the internal auditor. Okay, so this is it, and we have completed the entire chapter, including all the important topics that can possibly come in your examination. Now we go into a next important chapter, which is called as due diligence. Concept clear? Yes or no? Okay, concept clear till here? Yes or no? Now coming to a very, very important chapter, that is your due diligence, which is a confirmed and most important chapter in your part B, due diligence. And due diligence is something which is very regularly done by companies, etc. So let's begin. Hi, so we'll be starting with a chapter called as due diligence. Now let's understand the meaning of the term due diligence. Now few points I will tell you. Due diligence comes from the word due means proper and diligence means care. So due diligence means taking proper care. Now this with respect to business comes whenever there is a business transaction. Whenever there is a business transaction, for example, a takeover or a merger or any kind of transaction, it is a duty of the buyer company conducts due diligence. Due diligence. Now, what is a due diligence, sir? If I try to understand. Now, due diligence is a background check. Of the buyer company who we are planning to buy, we'll check who they are. Of the seller company, sorry, the seller company, when they're selling, we will see what we are purchasing. So we want to do a background check. And why would we do it? It is to uncover hidden risk. Hidden risk. Okay, so can I say due diligence is a risk management tool? It is a risk management tool. Now my question to you is, due diligence is done before a impeding transaction or after a transaction? Due diligence is done before a transaction or after a transaction? I want all of you to tell me. Before or after? Obviously the checking you will do before a transaction is entered, because there is a rule called as caveat emptor. Caveat emptor. Let the buyer be aware. So whenever there is a buyer, he, whenever he's going to buy something, how you go to check your clothes, etc. Even particular buyer company will come that I am purchasing the company, I want to check their IP, I want to check their agreements with their employees, I want to check their intellectual property, I want to check their information technology, I want to check the compliance with laws, legal due diligence, I want to see that tax due diligence. Every single aspect is checked. Clear till here? Yes or no? Have you understood the concept of due diligence? Let's understand. Okay, what is due diligence? Due diligence is a background check, is a examination, it is a investigation into the affairs of a company prior to entering into a transaction. Now it is all about gathering the information about the target company, whether we should purchase, and if we are purchasing, at what price we should purchase. So due diligence is a risk and assessment done of an impeding business transaction, or business transaction that is being done. Due diligence is an interactive process. Now what happens is, I'll tell you the full process of due diligence perfectly. Okay, in a due diligence, what happens is the interactive process, where the buyer company will come and tell the seller company, excuse me, hello, I need this information. I need even that information. Please supply me the following information. Now all information has to be supplied. So it is a ongoing interactive process where we will ask for financial information, operational information, try to interpret it, try to assess our risk and valuation. So background check is being done. Now coming to due diligence in a pre-transaction, I'll come to the types of due diligence also. Then once if a transaction is being done, we can enter into indemnities and warranties. For example, if I feel that, listen, there is a case on your company with respect to intellectual property. So the seller company saying, no, don't worry about that. It is 100% my intellectual property. I said, give me in writing that if tomorrow I lose the case and I have to pay damages of 10 crores, you will pay for it. So indemnity will be taken when I uncover that this potential risk is there. I will tell that if anything wrong goes, you will have to pay for it. So indemnity and warranty will be asked from the seller company promoters. Now, moving forward, objectives of due diligence: to identify the threat, weakness, everything. Like, why would you go to today when you're going to buy a fan or an AC or a mobile phone? 100 questions you're asking. If the same thing I tell you have to pay 19 crores to buy a particular company, how much checking you will do? Okay, so the objective of due diligence is to identify, figure out the threat, weakness, whether good investment decision should be made or no, to get a confidence and to collect all the material information. SWOT analysis will be done. Okay, now, and then in the end a duty report will be made. A DD report will be made telling all the aspects about the due diligence, what all has been checked, what all has been red flagged, and what all corrective measures are need to be taken. So all that will be done. Need for due diligence, same points you will write what we have done above. Scope of, now same thing you will write it. Scope, all this will have the same points. Now when we see the scope of due diligence, okay, the advantages is all the same, okay. Why would you do checking? So same points, same like how I told you for internal audit. Advantages, scope, meaning, all you will write the same points. Need for due diligence will all be the same headings. Now, risk management tool, etc. Now coming to the important aspect, the process of due diligence. Now mark it as important. Once you've understood the concept, now we are going to look at the process of due diligence. What we are going to look at? Process of due diligence. I want you all to know this perfectly. Now, the very first process is divided, they are just breaking it down into three parts: pre-diligence, diligence, and post-diligence. Now let me explain to you. Now I'm going to explain practically how it works. Yes or no? I'm going to explain practically how it works. Now what happens? First, there is a buyer company, and then they identify that this company I like, I'm interested in this. Seller company, I'll call it as a target company. I'm interested in purchasing this seller company. So buyer company will give a letter of intent. What they will give? Letter of intent to the seller company. This is how it starts. That listen, I intend to buy you, but before buying, I need lot of information and I want to do inquiries which are not publicly available. I will ask you about your legal disputes. I will talk about your IPR, trade secrets, everything I will ask you. I intend to buy you. If you are interested, tell me. Now imagine if the seller company is getting a good value, they would want to knock off their company. So they will say, okay, fine, we will give you information, but before giving the information, I want a non-disclosure agreement, a NDA to be signed, that I will share vital information. All the info will be shared, but first sign a NDA. They say, okay, fine, we'll sign a NDA. Now, seller company and buyer company, they could engage a firm. They could engage a firm that will do the due diligence. Okay, so even they will have to sign the NDA that all the information on behalf of the seller they will ask. So they will work on behalf. So they will engage a firm, and this firm will then request information, gather information. Okay, all the info they will gather, and the information will be given actually to the firm who is an expert in conducting due diligence. Clear till here? Now my question is that normally due diligence is done for a purpose of setting the valuation, also for fixing the valuation. Fixing, or I would correctly call it as adjusting the valuation. What happens is when they give letter of intent, they also say that I intend to buy you at $2 billion. Then only they will say, nah, I'm interested. Otherwise, any Tom, Dick and Harry will say, I intend to buy you. At what price you are ready to buy? Let me know. Then only I'll give you all my vital information. I can't keep sharing vital information with anyone who's coming and telling I'm ready to buy. So they give a price. Normally, a price is discussed. Then they say, okay, fine, this we are interested, this you take. Then this firm will demand information and find errors, file delays, find we could say various kind of bottlenecks which were not publicly available, and then they will say because of this we are diluting the value of the company. We have figured out that this transaction was not correctly reported, or we will say that on this particular transaction which you've done there can be a tax demand strategy. Then after that, after the due diligence, They will renegotiate. What will they do? Renegotiate. Negotiate. Okay. Now, in renegotiation, what will they do? They will tell that, listen, this all errors are there. I will minus this much. So, in the due diligence report, properly it will be written that the value is this much, and maybe so many non-compliances are there to do a compounding or to rectify all these errors, etc. There could be a cost of 2 crore rupees. So they will say, I'll deduct 2 crore rupees from the value of the company. Second, there could be contingent liabilities that will come, like a pending litigation. So then the seller, the buyer company will tell that, listen, I'm buying you out, I'm paying you the money, but I want an indemnity from you that if you lose the case, you have to pay for me. That is it. And your process of due diligence is over. So as you see, a term sheet or letter of intent will be done. NDA will be signed, data will be collected, issues will be identified. So, very beautifully explained. Thank you. Now, coming to the real process of checking, a report will be given, okay, and it will be summarized that, listen, all this report is that these all correction needs to be done. They say, okay, fine, I understand a report is saying that I made a mistake on these grounds. Give me minus that much and tell me. So then a shareholders agreement will be entered, and post diligence comes the part of negotiating. As I told you, you found some errors, you could renegotiate, rectify. So for example, I would have said that once I have determined, then I will go ahead that I've got a discount of so and so. Once I've taken over the company, then I will go ahead and complete the compliances, right? So this is given exactly how it is there. Very, very important. And you have to give access to data room. Now, data room is where the vital information of the company is there. It could be a virtual data room or a physical data room. Virtual data room, nowadays companies have saved all their vital information about them, their clients, etc. on virtual servers. If there it is there, you can go, the person, you will have to give access to the professional to visit that username, password should have been given, or you will have to call them in the data center and view it out. Or physical, if there is any physical files, etc., MOA physical, you can come and visit it, land documents, etc. Now, then the report will be made. Yeah, very, very important. Very important. This is past exam question also. Once you have, and I've explained this, so it will be more or less same. Once you have identified the due diligence, once you've got the due diligence report, then 4 things you can do. Either you found that there is absolutely no discrepancies, nothing, no issue at all, it is a deal maker, you will shake the hands, done. If you found certain discrepancies which can be rectified by paying monetary penalty, then how much of a monetary penalty I'll have to pay, I'll deduct it from the value. Third, if I have determined that you have some extreme level of non-reporting, fraud, etc., the deal will break. And deal cautioners could be, it do not affect you currently through any monetary way, but I need to be careful. Cautioners could be that I have to be careful that maybe if I'm buying a edtech company after COVID, edtech companies are really not, it is back to transacting to physical mode. Online mode might bust. So you have to be cautioned. Or maybe a pending lawsuit which you might lose, or maybe a pending lawsuit by a customer. So all these have to be keep in mind. Okay. So glaring non-compliance, it is deal breaker. Quantifiable penalties are deal diluters. Deal cautioners, maybe if I am buying a company which is dealing in manufacture of diesel and petrol cars, I will say, listen, yeah, the future is about electric cars. So that caution needs to be taken. Okay, does not impact the financials, but it might just need to be careful. Deal makers are very hard to come by, where there is not a reality where no, you come across again no valuation, no violation. Right now, coming to techniques of due diligence, very, very simple. Due diligence is very similar to auditing. It is similar to auditing. All those things that you do for checking for auditing, like maybe a background check, background verification questions, vouching verification is of assets, any confirmations that you do. So same thing what you do for audit, similar lines you have to follow for, because audit is also verification, scrutiny, examination, background check, right? Similarly, same tools are followed. So same techniques. There are same techniques to be followed. Same techniques. Examination of financial, non-financial, public, non-public, everything will be checked. So if you read the tools for auditing, the same tools are applied for due diligence also. Which brings me to an important point, that I understand that this is also verification, this is also verification, this is also examination, this is also examination. So what is the difference? This difference is very important to know. So sir, a DD report and an auditor's report might have the same details, right? Yes, they will have the same details, but the objective is very different. Or due diligence is for a business transaction, whether you should do or no. So the wordings will be more on a transaction oriented, whether the transaction should be done, should not be done, should be done at what price, and what all dilution should be done, that price. Audit, I'll come to what audit and due diligence is. First is meaning. So due diligence is same points, okay? Examination, verification, scrutiny into financial and non-financial data prior to a transaction. Whereas in audit also you do examination, verification, scrutiny into financial if it is a statutory audit, but if it is a secretarial audit, you will do non-financial data is also done, okay, as per law. So the timeline on when you should do a due diligence is not mandatory. This is mandatory by law, right? Mandatory. This is not mandatory. Non-mandatory. Audit will be, again, if you go to see, audit will be done every year. This will be occasional. Most important point with respect to audit is a post-mortem analysis. What do they say? Post-mortem analysis. The entire object is to detect frauds and error. What is the objective of this? Is to detect frauds and errors. Detect and prevent frauds and errors. Yes or no? Frauds and errors, its job is to detect. Whereas when I come into due diligence, so this is about audit and this is about due diligence. Due diligence objective is not post-mortem, it is a forward-looking exercise. That whether the transaction should go ahead, not go ahead, if it's going to go ahead, then what all corrections need to be done. Is the concept crystal clear? Again, audit, it has clearly been given by law that audit is to be done by CA if it is a financial audit, CS if it is a sectoral audit, and CMA if it is a cost audit. So this who should do is also clearly given. So CA is done in section 138. No, 139. This audit is under section 204 and this audit is under section 148. Yes or no? Yes or no? An internal audit is 138. Whereas due diligence could be done by anyone. Concept clear? Yes or no? Second, the last point, very important, is the scope. What all is to be checked? is defined by law. Law will tell that if you read your audit section 177, what all audit committee should check. It's clearly been given. Whereas scope of due diligence, like what it needs to be checked, is determined by parties. Is determined by parties. Concept clear? So they will tell whether they want to do a legal due diligence, or they want to do a tax due diligence, or they want to do a HR due diligence, or they human resource due diligence, or they want to do a due diligence of. Party will tell that, listen, I feel everything is okay. I just want to check their tech aspect, tech IT, information technology aspect. So I could be checking multiple IPR. If it's not information, I want to check their IPR. So the scope of the due diligence also has various types, right? Because you would think that everything should be checked. The more checking means more time, more cost. So parties decide that what needs to be checked, right? Is the concept crystal clear, everyone? Yes or no? Is the concept crystal clear? Yes or no? Right? Very good. So now if you go to see, a legal due diligence is about the laws. Ethical due diligence is about the ethical code of conduct. How is the shareholders, how are the customers, how are the employees, those aspects. Whether there is, imagine if there was any ethical breaches in the past, if there was any kind of allegations for posh, those factors you will see. Whether my company, Tata is acquiring another company, they would want to see that they also match the ethics level. Strategic due diligence, or due diligence whether it is a good strategy to merge. So for example, let's take a strategy which made very good amount of money. If you go to see, one of the most successful takeovers was Facebook taking over your WhatsApp, right? WhatsApp, and even they took over Instagram also, Meta. So what happened is, now they have data from not only Facebook but also Instagram. So today if you run an Instagram ad, it can also run on Facebook and vice versa. So it made a very strategic decision. Now if you go to see Google, now Google was the biggest search engine in the world. They said that at one time YouTube became the second biggest search engine in the world. Google went and acquired YouTube. So today if you run an ad on Google, you also run it on YouTube. You know that? So this is how it works if you know marketing a little bit. That meta ads run on Facebook and Insta. Okay, because the parent company is same, Facebook. If today you run Google ads, it can run not only on Google, but it will also run on YouTube. Because the parent company is same, Google has acquired YouTube also. Is the concept clear? Yes or no? So accordingly, it makes a very strategic decision. If it's a social engaging site, they said Facebook is also there, Insta is also there, let's take a strategic call. Right? Operational due diligence. Now if you see, so many banks are being merged to create operational efficiency. Okay, human resource. So all these just read, you can write in your own word. It's not a law. So very small part, and they come. Legal due diligence, I'll tell you, very important, that you have to check the laws. Then I don't check the IT, I don't check the other stuff. I just look at everything with respect to law, the contracts, the compliance with laws, etc. Now, role of company secretary in legal due diligence. Now, you can write this case law. Very few times you will see case laws given. Technology Frontiers Private Limited versus Global Commerce Limited. Now, this case can be written anywhere in your part B. That company secretary is a watchdog for protecting governance. Now, this is there and safeguarding the assets. Now, imagine this case law. I believe you should definitely write it, learning the entire thing, because they are really telling that company secretaries are doing a good due diligence aspect. Then what all work is there? So whichever sections are there. For example, in the transaction based section, if a company has undergone an IPO, you would check that. A private equity, you will check that. All the sections and all of this, I believe you would be definitely knowing. So that's not the part. The point is what all you're checking. In legal due diligence, you check almost everything. In M&A, you will check your section 230 to 240. Takeover, you will see whether the takeover code has been complied with or not. Okay. Now, issue of shares. So for issue of shares, you need to know the sections which is there. Now, issue of shares could be under section 23, 42. Okay, 23 could be issue of private, bonus shares, etc. So the point is, just knowing the law is enough. You would be checking all of that. Intellectual property rights, trademark, copyright, patent, designs, and GI. Intellectual property, etc. Environmental laws, whether all the environmental laws are followed. Nowadays, companies and factories, this has to be checked. So detailed assessment of the compliance with the environmental laws is to be checked, and all the risk associated with the environmental framework. Then comes labor codes. Now labor codes, all your labor laws, if you know, the 4 labor codes have been implemented with effect from 2025. So in November 2025 only, all these labor code have been made effective. So as on date, you don't have to, it won't be applicable for your December attempt. For June attempt, the new labor codes will be there. But my advice that since it is such a big amendment, you can always learn the effective date and quote it in the exam that the labor codes have been effective from XYZ date. Okay. Then comes Competition Act, we've already done. So all your sections of 4, 5, 6 you can mention. FEMA due diligence, if there is FDI, etc. FCRA also, if you got foreign donations. Very simple. Financial due diligence, let me tell you what is important. Now bank due diligence, you can mark it as important. Now what happened is the bank due diligence. Now what do we know about banks? Answer is it's a banking company. So everything with respect to Companies Act we would know. But apart from that, even banks, if you go to see, they must have given loans. When they must have given loans, the charges section become very important. Right? So whether the proper charges have been created, etc. Those parts we can check. And not only that, I want that there was a ranker, he learned the circular number. Now imagine this circular number you can always learn and write by RBI the circular number he had written in 2008 that PCS are required. So RBI circular was saying that PCS is a competent professional to do due diligence for banks, and it should be done in format annexure 3 of the circular, and it should be done on a half yearly basis. So even if they didn't ask you anywhere in your examination, you can always quote it, because company secretaries have been identified as by RBI as a competent professional to do a due diligence for banks. Then again, we saw in audit opinion, if you have any adverse opinion qualification, you have to do it either in bold letter or in italics. Okay, so those things will come, and then you have the letter. Now even if you go to see your due diligence report, what all are we checking? Companies Act, MOA, AOA, guarantees, loans amount, because company is engaged in giving loans, deposits, etc. So all those aspects will be seen. Okay. Other types of due diligence, etc. Strategic due diligence, whether it makes, now when they use the word strategic, they are talking about commercially viable, whether it is. So again, whenever they ask you due diligence, start with a definition of due diligence or purpose of due diligence, and then come to the particular due diligence. Concept clear? Operational, whether it's, again, I think we are done with the chapter. Okay. Very, very important is a NDA. Now, non-disclosure agreement. So a NDA is an agreement to protect vital confidential information that has been exchanged during a transaction. In the agreement, they will define what is a confidential information. They will define what is not confidential information. For example, publicly known data is not a confidential information. Third, they will say when this confidential information can be shared. Obviously, for legitimate purposes, this confidential information can be shared to your employees, etc. For in pursuant to the agreement. Fourth, confidential data should not be used for any private benefit. So all that they will give you. So if you go to see some of the points you can write. Okay, what is confidential information, what is not, who are the parties involved, right? You have to protect the information, and that is it. I don't think they've given much. Okay, definitions would be given. Undertaking that you will not do anything when it is exceptional. For example, this shall not apply to if it is publicly available. Okay, or if the disclosure becomes public by other way, by breach of agreement. I didn't breach the information and it became public and then I came to know. So that is also not breach of information. No title of use means no party should go ahead and use the confidential information for their own benefit. And that is it. We have completed the entire chapter of due diligence as well. Clear till here? Yes or no? No. Now I'll do one more chapter. So I have completed the part B, all important chapters. All important chapters I have completed, okay, of part B, and I believe it should come from there only. Clear till here? Yes or no? Now I'll quickly just complete one more chapter for you, which is your legal framework governing company secretary. So I will do a bird's eye view of this chapter, tell you what is important, you can study and complete it. Clear till here? Yes, great. Yes, Dave, that has been notified. Now I'm going to teach you one aspect about legal framework governing company secretary. So you can open it and I will start and complete it. Okay. So very simple chapter. Let's start. So here I will be telling you which are the important sections, what all can come, and that I think will be more than enough. Hi, so we'll be starting with a chapter called as Legal Framework Governing Company Secretaries. Now, what is a legal framework governing company secretaries? You need to know the act. That is your Company Secretaries Act 1980, right? Directly coming to the point. Now, see. All the section 204, I believe you will write, 205, I know you will be able to write functions of a company secretary. One thing which I don't think students write, which is uncommon, but they should definitely write. That is in your regulation number 6, sub-regulation 2. It is stated that only a company secretary can be appointed as a compliance officer of a listed company. So regulation 6 sub regulation 2 says every listed company must appoint a CS as a compliance officer, right? So this is important. This I want you to quote in the exam. Next, if you go to see this part we had done in the earlier chapter. So all these points, see general stuff which they don't ask, I'm skipping. I'm doing an exam oriented revision from where what points you need to quote in the exam and what can be asked. So regulation 6 sub-regulation 2 of SEBI LODR you need to write that a company secretary has been is a professional that can be appointed as a compliance officer of listed company. Next, company secretary is a part of senior management. So when you go to the definition of senior management under regulation number 16D, okay, what do they say? Senior management includes. See, they exclude the word BOD because BOD is a different thing. They're saying other than BOD, who is there coming in senior management excludes BOD, but includes company secretary, CFO, and functional head. So CS has been included in the definition of the senior management. Now we're going to come to the point which they can ask in the exam. What is company secretary in employment and company secretary in practice? So you must have heard he has a COP, he has a COP. What is a COP? A COP means he's in practice, he's not employed under any one company, he's not in employment. He is giving services to multiple companies. So company secretary in practice means you're working in a firm. You're working in a firm rendering your services of incorporation, advisory services, structuring services, form filing services to all companies. That is working in a firm. So a firm is like a business that you have. Now, sir, employment, I am in a job. I have a job. Like I am a company secretary of Tata Sons or Tata Motors. So I am employed in that company. So I'll be called as company secretary in employment. Very, very simple. Just see the meaning and finish it off. Now, 21C company secretary means a person who has a membership in the register of members. Very simple. Now, company secretary in practice. Now, company secretary in practice means a person who is deemed to be in practice. Now, in practice and deemed to be in practice. Can anyone tell me what does deemed to be in practice mean? What does deemed to be in practice mean? You know, it can come in the exam. Very simple. Right now, what in practice means what he must be doing. See, your deemed to be in practice will come. And you'll say, oh, it's so simple. Okay. A member, see this, deemed to be in practice. What is deemed to be in practice? What does a practicing CS do? So obviously they will do I just told you they will be doing incorporation service, amalgamation, verifying, share. They can be a secretarial auditor, consultancy services. So whatever work that PCS does, write it. Okay, they don't cater to any individual company. They cater to all companies. That is it. Is this clear? Yes, sir. Okay, very simple. So, company secretary in practice means who is doing all the work that a practicing CS does. Section 2, subsection 51, obviously, every child also knows that company secretary is a KMP, but a section you have to quote. Now, come to the next thing. Sir, what do you mean by a CS? ACS and FCS. ACS and FCS. What is an ACS and what is an FCS? Quickly. What is a ACS and what is a FCS? Okay. So very simple. Okay. Very simple. ACS, normally student miss the second point. ACS means you have just newcomer. Okay. You're a newcomer CS. You've cleared your examination and also completed your training. So what a feeling. Imagine you completed your CS examination. You got an exemption in the exam in that you're giving December 2025. Imagine you go, whatever I tell you comes in the exam, you write it, you clear with the exam, you clear with exemption, you call me, message me, I feel really happy, I tell you go start your articleship also, जी ले अपनी जिंदगी, live your life, then you go complete your articleship and then come back, and then you tell me that I am a ECS. Hi sir, I'm a ACS. And I go, cool. So, ACS is a person who's cleared the examination from Jahangir tutorials and completed the training of 21 months also. Clear till here? Now, coming to the next thing is FCS. Sir, FCS is what? So, ACS who has a 5 years of practicing is FCS. Clear? Done, sir. Done. Now, just a few points extra will come. ACS, sir, extremely you've explained that you've cleared CS from Jahangir tutorials. Okay, with all your marks you've cleared and you've completed your training also. Now, a person is eligible to be entered in the register as an associate if he has cleared his examination and practical training. But it doesn't end there. There are other categories also which people forget. They forget other categories also. This is one category which I have told you. Other category is if in London you were there, you had a membership of London, and then you convert, like how it's reverse also. If I have membership in India, yes, I can and ICSI and IC, London ICSI have entered a tie-up. So if I have a membership here, I can switch, give some few exams and get a membership there. So that is also counted. Okay, I have covered any foreign examination which is covered by the government, etc. Okay, so that also is being given. So all related to London foreign. Sir, understood beautifully. Thank you for your kind word, means a lot. Now coming to a fellow FCS. So if you have worked as an ACS for 5 continuous years, then they give you a FCS. What they give you? A FCS. Okay. So what is a FCS? Is basically a continuous practice in India for at least 5 years. You get a FCS. Very simple, done. Ineligibility. Okay. Now when you become ineligible, if imagine after clearing CS, you have a YouTube channel and then you go on YouTube and say scam by ICSI, scam by ICSI, paper correction not done, extremely scam. So ICSI doesn't like it. ICSI have started issuing contempt notices to anyone who is defaming or talking ill about ICSI. They say you have to follow a professional mode. They have given a grievance email, mention there, use the formal methods rather than hype, or you could say any kind of things which directly affects not only the ICSI but the profession at large. So members get notices of misconduct notice if they found, and let's say they found guilty of misconduct. Okay, then obviously they cannot be entered as a fellow. He has not completed the. Now again, these credit hours are also there. Once you clear your CS, then to maintain, keep your membership live, active, you have to. What do you have to do? You have to complete some training credit hours. So only then your ACS can be converted into FCS. Certificate of practice. I told you who's practicing like in a firm and deemed to be practice is doing all the work that a professional does in a firm. Register of members. ICSI maintains a register of all the members. You can check it from ICSI site, or okay, whether membership number is everything, all the details will be available. Now at certain times it could be removed. Your name can also be removed. Okay. Now when your name can be removed, one is if you're dead. Okay, second, you request to that effect that I don't want to have my membership. Maybe I want to have a sanad, or maybe I want my CA membership to be done, or CA. I'm not paid the prescribed fees, or you've incurred any disabilities. Okay, that cannot be given. Your membership cannot be kept. Now, most important part of the chapter, which I will decode it for you. I will decode the most important part of the chapter, that is your disciplinary mechanism. Sir, what is a disciplinary mechanism? A disciplinary mechanism is in place that if at all ICSI identifies that you have done misconduct as per chapter 5 of CS Act 1980. So I want you to know this, chapter 5 of CS Act 1980. Okay. Then we have people to take care of you. I want you to write this, okay? Section. Now, I want you to note this down. This is now 3 kinds of committees there. Okay, now full I will explain in short, okay? Disciplinary committee is covered under your section 21B. Your disciplinary director is an officer, okay, who is covered under your section 21. Your board of discipline is covered under section 21A. Concept clear? Yes or no? Till here, is the concept clear? Yes or no? Now, whenever you are there, okay, section 21A, this is 21A, 21B. Okay. Now, if I have done a schedule 1 offense, then they will come in. And if I do a schedule 2 offense, they will come in. Okay. Now, schedule 1 are minor offenses and these are serious offenses. Serious offenses. Serious offenses. Clear till here? I want you to note it down, everything, write it with me, please. Do that, your life will become very, very easy. Okay. Now, director, okay, just remember disciplinary directorate is a officer. And these are two, this is a committee, this is a board of discipline. Okay. So always the matter goes first to first the officer is there and then he will determine whether it is a schedule 1 offense or schedule 2 offense. So he will identify whether it is a schedule 1 offense, because in schedule 1 a certain list of offenses are given, in schedule 2 some other list of offenses are given. Once it goes in section 1, then 21, then he will say whether it will go in 21A or 21B, right? Because you could do a grave offense or a minor offense. If you're unhappy with the decision from section 21, you can go in appeal. Appeal provisions are in section number 22, 90 days. Okay, if you're unhappy with the decision, okay, here, then from section 21, you will go to section 22, which talks about appeals. An appeal shall lie within 90 days. Concept clear? Yes or no? Concept clear till here? Yes or no? See, first, what happens is section 21 comes in, the director of discipline comes, he will segregate whether it is a schedule 1 offense or schedule 2 offense. If it is a schedule 1 offense, he will report it to the board of discipline, and if it is a schedule 2 offense, he will report it to the disciplinary committee. Clear? And appeals go under 22. So this is perfectly covered. Now, pay attention to this, okay? Now, what is serious, what is there, I'll tell you, schedule 1 and schedule 2. So, disciplinary directorate is headed by a director. On receipt of information that someone has done something wrong. Sorry, so sorry. Okay, so after the director identifies that someone has done wrong, he will go ahead and then classify it whether a schedule 1 offense or schedule 2 offense. Now, in schedule 1 offense, okay, in schedule 1 offense, you will see if the board of discipline is guilty, means if it's a schedule 1 offense, means it is less serious, okay? Less serious. Then what all will be done? They will tell you, don't ever do it like that. That's a reprimand. Remove only up to 3 months. So like a suspension, or impose a fine up to 1 lakh rupees. So if it is, so even if they ask anything, please go in this order only. Section 21 and 22 you have to quote with schedule 1 and schedule 2, because you can't remember all the internal things. I'll show you a technique for that also. Okay, now 3 months removal will be done. Now disciplinary committee is there. For disciplinary committee, obviously it's a schedule 2 offense. You will not only reprimand, you can remove the name permanently and fine up to 5 lakh. That was 1 lakh, this is 5 lakh rupees. Concept clear? Okay. Now appeals are given. A member agree by the decision of any of the board or the discipline can appeal to within 90 days. Okay, to the higher authority. Appellate authority. The appellate authority can either modify, cancel, just like what appellate authority can do. Now coming to the schedules, okay. Now understand that I told you that there are two schedules. Schedule 1 are divided in 4 parts. Schedule 1 is divided in 4 parts and schedule 2 is divided into 3 parts. Okay. So schedule 1 offense has 4 parts and schedule 2 offense has 3 parts. Now, each one they will go on to tell you what all offenses are there. Okay. Now, I'm going to teach you one technique where you will be able to remember everything. Now, understand this thing that all these things, common answer I'll give you for everything. Okay. You just have to read the schedule 3 offenses, the schedule 2 offenses. So, you come to know that this is the serious ones. So, I'm going to share all what amounts to misconduct which they normally ask in the exam. Okay, and then you will say that on basis of the matter it will be divided by the directorate whether it will go in schedule 1 or schedule 2, and whatever the penalties are there will be decided accordingly. So all your offenses can be classified here. So first is misconduct. If I am so a CS is a professional. If a firm, a practicing member takes up the work of a company and then gives it to a non-professional, it's a misconduct. See, if a CSAR professional work, they engage non-professional to do it, it is a misconduct. Second is a guarantee. If you give a guarantee or result-oriented answer that I will do the tax structuring and get a reduction of this much, or I will win the case for you, is a guarantee. That is also not allowed. Any other business or professional relation that I have, a company secretary cannot be engaged in any other kind of business which is not related to the profession. Teaching is allowed. You cannot run ads for CS as a professional. Even doctors are coming under the same category. And profit sharing with a person who is not a partner. So all this is treated to be misconduct. Okay. Now each one you can read. I have explained each one in the detailed lecture which you can go. So more or less you will see it's under this only. Engages in other businesses. Whichever I've shown you a summary. Now let me go to the second schedule. Is more serious misconduct. If you breached, so now second schedule offenses you better read it once so that you know that okay, this is a bigger level. Breach, sale of information. Certifying without examination. You do not check only and you certify. Okay. Guarantees, conflict of interest was there, still you took. Gross negligence, expressing opinion without sufficient information or scrutiny, misuse of the client's funds, etc. We'll come here. Now, then comes a concept of, now we are done with this. Okay, now comes to the second part of the chapter which they can also ask in the exam, which they have asked in the exam. Okay, so one is multidisciplinary firm. Nowadays we have mega firms like you see KPMG, Deloitte. They are financial firms, but they also have a legal arm. So they might also have a separate arm, or they might have a firm which gives multiple services. These are called as multidisciplinary firms that cater not only of one profession but of other professions also. So a member, because they might have a CS as a partner, CA as a partner, CWO as a partner. So they give all the services under one head. That can also be done. Then comes to one very, very, very important thing, which is of a new origin, which many people don't know. It came through an amendment. Okay, and this is one of the favorite appeal to appellate authority. They are made inside the CS only. There's no specific name to it. Now, coming to UDIN. Now, UDIN is basically unique. So, what is happening is any document is there. How will I come to know that the company secretary has signed? He will say, I will try to backdate and sign. So, for each document also they generate a UDIN number. So, let's tell the process how UDIN works. Now, pay attention to this. I am teaching you in a way that you will always remember. So, first thing is, a company secretary will go to the UDIN site. For example, I have to sign any document. I go to the UDIN site. I tell which type of document it is, and a UDIN number, 17-digit UDIN number will be generated. And since I'm doing it from my portal, the members portal, the COP number will also be attached. So mention the UDIN number along with the COP number. Then a e-form. For e-forms, no UDIN number is available. Upload an optional attachment. Maintain the records of all UDIN for future compliances. So, if a certificate is signed on 25th September, UDIN may be generated ideally on this or any time from 18 to 25th September. So, what you have to do is any document which you have to sign, first you have to create a UDIN. So you go to, I told you the site, go to UDIN, create a document identification number with your COP, and within 7 days you have to sign. So within 7 days you need to sign the document. Within 7 days of generating UDIN, sign the document. So what happens? Authenticity of the document is increased. What happens exactly that I create a UDIN and I say that I'm going to sign this document and then I sign it. So obviously that double verification is done. Signing is also there and UDIN is also created from the members portal. So a UDIN is a 17-digit number introduced by ICSI. It is used to verify the authenticity of documents attested by the ICSI, by a PCS. It is mandatory to generate UDIN on all the reports, returns, certificates, other documents signed by a PCS. The purpose of a UDIN is to authenticate the document, see that nobody else can bring a counterfeit document, maintain a register, comply with the sealing limits. So if you're signing certain documents, we will come to know also how many documents you have signed, etc. Very important, a UDIN shall be generated at the time of signing the document. Advanced generation is permitted. UDIN can be generated up to 7 days before the actual date of signing. So in short, I have to sign a document. So before signing it, 7 days prior, I can go and generate a UDIN or on the date of signing also. So what happens? There is a link that person has signed on so and so date and UDIN has also been generated from the portal. Means he has only signed. It's like a OTP verification how you have. Like you have a double verification, right? That's all. Then come to ESIN number. Now, what is the ESIN number? Do you know? This also comes in the exam, 5 marks. So this is whenever you join a company for the very first time or resign, you go ahead and create a ESIN number. Okay. So 2 points: when you have appointed or ceased to be a company secretary in employment. It is an 18-digit number. It's an identifier that listen, XYZ person is the company secretary of that company at the time of joining and at the time of cessation. Eligibility: only those who are members having active membership and holding an employment will go and generate a ESIN number. Now, how do you go? Again, ICSI has created a portal. You go there, inform, login into the company, login into that portal, generate the ESIN number, date of joining, date of leaving, and all your date of PAN number of employer, when you have ceased, etc. 18-digit number will be generated and it's to be reported to ICSI. And do's and don'ts of company secretary, very, very important for advertisement. Can company secretary advertise? So obviously what will happen is, this is to be learned because code of conduct has been given for our advertisement. If I, let's say, have a website, it is allowed. In my website, if I have written my achievements, it is allowed. If I'm giving the pricing details about my services, that is also allowed. I cannot launch offers with respect to PCS services. So let's see. What all permitted activities are given? Very, very important. You can have your own social media, you can have your community engagement like your WhatsApp groups, etc. You can have your website, logo, workplace display, firm branding, content creation. Everything can be done. These are permitted. Nowadays, what is happening? We are having influencers, right? Now, influencers, you're giving, they call it as edutainment, not information or entertainment. It is edutainment, where you educate your customers about your what is happening, what is the recent development, etc. That is also a kind of personal branding that a person is doing. That all is allowed. What is not allowed? Of misleading, claiming superiority over other professionals. This happens. One professional goes and tries to demean the other profession. This repute to ICSI, explaining as, using terms as expert, cheapest, guaranteed results, fee related claims, referring to past results, or indicate referring to past results and saying that future success is guaranteed, misleading slogans. Okay, so all that is not allowed. Aggregator sites and LLM sites not allowed. Aggregated platforms like Suleka, etc. Not allowed to list your sites on this. Very important. Okay, aggregator sites, just to keep that we are professionals. We cannot just be available at this, so that all is not allowed. Prohibited of joining LNM or marketing associations. Okay, make one member, you will get another member. Mandatory disclosure on the website does not, so you have to write a disclosure on that. ICSI does not hold anything of any responsibility for the contents and the claims made by the advertiser. Okay, and then that is it, the chapter is over. Professional liabilities, civil and criminal, both liabilities can be there. So we have seen under section 447, 448, 92, all those liabilities are given. And contractual liabilities could be when you breach a contract with your client, that could be individual liability. With this, we have completed the entire chapter, including all the important aspects and the past exam questions. So with this, I will wrap up my marathon, where I've covered quite a number of chapters, especially from part B. The balance part you can study from the Dream Badge. The Dream Badge gives you access to all the premium paid content at a price less than a pizza. So go ahead, enroll yourself. Hundreds of students have already joined it. Don't waste your time. The link is rotated in our WhatsApp group. I will rotate it again. So please go ahead, join. And if you're looking for lectures in English or you're from Mumbai, please do share it with your friends and like the video and comment as well. Feels really good to be with you all. Remember, I have made scanners. I have given test series. I've taken marathons, and I'm giving all the paid lectures also to you all. So success is guaranteed. In all your books, I want you all to write exemption. Exemption is 60 plus. Once you write it, automatically everything around you in the back end will also change, and you will definitely get an exemption. With this, I conclude my marathon. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Dev. Thank you everyone for being there, and I will see you in the lectures again. Take care. Bye. All the best for your examination.